Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Comics from the Future. I'm Jason,
I'm Andy.
and we're with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Comics from the Future is our weekly show where we show all the comics that are available for pre-order. We're also going to show you a lot of cool variants. We're going to tell you what these comics are about. I think we got a pretty decent order week,
Yeah.
some cool DC, some cool Marvel. So strap in and prepare to decide what you want to order.
I will say this is, I feel like a big week, especially Marvel chose to make it big because this will be the comic book day before Free Comic Book Day when these come out.
Okay.
So I think they're putting a lot of stuff on shelves for when maybe some new people come in there, they'll have maybe some new stuff to pick up.
And that works too, I know, because I order
Mhm.
before comic book day. I've done this year after year, and I always order a whole lot of extra number ones,
Yeah.
and they vanish from the shelf. And some of those people, they keep coming back. That's
Mhm.
where we've connected with some of our customers from. Okay, so before we get into it, just want to let you know that some of these comics, pretty much all these comics we're
Mhm.
going over, you can see at our website, infinityflux.net, where you can subscribe to these comics for free. It costs nothing to have a subscription, and anything you pre-order through us, you get for 10% off. You can subscribe to the whole series or just pre-order covers. Again, that is at infinityflux.net. Okay, so on to the books. Let's get to our first segment, which is featured comics.
Starting off the book, might be one of my most anticipated books, is the new Green Arrow #1 from Joshua Williamson and Sean Isaacs. This is going to be 6 issues, but Joshua Williamson has already said like he kind of hopes it takes the road of Poison Ivy and gets picked up to be an ongoing. And with the buzz around this, I say it has a good chance of doing that. Now, what's interesting, this actually picks up from Dark Crisis, where all the heroes that were kind of in their own little worlds return to the main Earth, except for Green Arrow. Something has happened with him and left him behind. So, where is Green Arrow? It's going to take his entire family to find out where he is and what kind of threats are trying to stop them from finding him. So, there is, of course, Oliver Queen, but also you've got Black Canary, Roy Harper, but also a lot of the extended family like Mia. And if you've been a fan of Green Arrow for any time frame, some of those characters will probably be appearing in this. I've actually read this issue already. We got a early look preview of it, and this is a great issue. It is nonstop action. There's a lot of surprises, and it sets up kind of something almost bigger than a Green Arrow story has ever done. This almost seems to maybe be laying the stage for some big future DC things to come. So I'm super excited about this. I really think if people give this a chance, they are going to be on board. The art is fantastic. This A cover is a wraparound cover. I don't have the back one on here because it didn't have the portrait dress and all of that. But so this is our A cover. This is by the interior artist Sean Isaacs.
I have to say, it has been too long since there's been a Green Arrow
It
series.
really has,
As
yeah.
important as Oliver Queen is to the DC universe as a whole, what a super important character.
Yeah. We have this awesome Frank Cho cover. You can see Black Canary is going to play almost as big a role in this as Green Arrow because you know they're a team, they're partners. So
I like just sort of the choices of color he's using to represent her, and especially the little skull down there. Just like, and also she can kill you.
We have this David Nakayama cover.
Very cool.
Yep. And of course, there is a blank cover, which has the potential to be very cool.
It's like, in case this one doesn't have enough green, here's this one. Okay, so next up, here is an indie series that's really interesting. It is called Deep Cuts. This is from Image Comics. It is from Kyle Higgins. He's taken a breath from all the massive verse stuff he's doing to do a whole different kind of comic. So I like to talk in the shop about what comics crosses over with. You know, we have like a lot of wrestling fans who love comics, but this is not that. This is music fans. Okay, this is a comic about the history of jazz. So I guess Higgins probably is a musician.
Yeah.
I would bet. I didn't look that up. I just kind of bet he is. Big fan of jazz, and this is not supposed to be complete fiction. This
Yeah.
is based on historical stuff. So this is going to be a 6-issue miniseries going over the entire history of jazz and showing how there's much more to the industry than just the music. Anytime you look into the rise of some cultural phenomena, usually there's a really good story there. And I know, most of us here, superheroes are our bread and butter,
Yep.
but you got to have those other things. This to me feels like something that, if it's done well, I could see this getting an option somehow. This is almost like sort of Oscar bait, like history of jazz sort of thing. So just wanted to let everybody know that's what Deep Cuts is about. 6-issue miniseries by Kyle Higgins. He's co-writing it with Joe Clark, and the art is done by Danila Beyruth. And just the one cover.
Yeah.
It's the highbrow stuff. Doesn't need all the variants.
Sometimes it's nice to have, take a fresh breath of air from superheroes and read something that's completely different and, kind of nonfiction. It's very cool.
And then go right back to superheroes.
Yeah, and then dive back in to Edge of the Spider-Verse. It's interesting they don't call this like Edge of the Spider-Verse Returns or anything, because we've had this before, but we are going back into the Spider-Verse. Who knows? Could be for the last times, at least. Coming up, we've got the Spider-Verse movie coming out, and we're seeing the end of the Spider-Verse in Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, so this is really interesting, and probably one of the last we'll see of this for a little while. But what I like about this one is where all the previous ones, almost every story was here's a new character. We're actually catching up with some of the characters that we've met before, furthering their stories, like Spider-Rex. This time, introducing Venomsaurus, his arch enemy.
I was wondering what the name. I had already come up with a few in my head.
So many options. The tongue is perfect. So this is going to be a 4-issue miniseries. Like all the other Spider-Verse, it's going to have a couple of stories in each. The other story in this, and you'll see it on one of the variants, is the debut of what they say is the scariest spider character ever, the Spider Killer. So I saw the cover. I thought he looks pretty creepy. So this is our A cover.
I wonder if it's going to be Spider-Man mixed with Hannibal Lecter. Spider-Man and Hannibal Lecter mask.
This is our CASANOVAS connecting variant.
Very cool.
This is the CHRISCROSS Howard the Duck variant. How'd he get in the Spider-Verse? And we have, this is the character, this is the Ken LASHLEY variant. Very spooky, more spider than man.
Yeah, it gave him the 8 arms. It gave him the little pincers. Really cool. Okay, so if you like...
There's a Scotty Young.
Too, the Scotty Young.
Scotty Young is snuck in there.
So if you like Carnage, then this is your week, because I have not 1, not 2, but 3 different things coming out that Carnage is a part of. So I'm going to tell you about the first 2 right now. The first is Carnage Reigns Alpha. This is a one-shot to a new sort of mini-series that they're doing, where Cletus Cassidy has gotten control of the Extrembiote armor. So the Extrembiote armor was created back in King in Black by Tony Stark to fight Null. So Cletus Cassidy, it's not just his physical form, his soul has taken over this armor, and it needs power. So as he's trying to power the unit, he's going to go up against Miles Morales in this Omega issue. So this is going to be written by Alex Packnadel and Cody Ziegler. So this is the regular cover. Here is the Kendrick Ron Lim cover. Ron Lim cover. Here's the Kendrick Lim cover. Ron Lim is burned in my brain. I've been seeing Ron Lim art since, as I started reading comics. Here is the TAURIN CLARKE connecting variant for that as well. Now, the second Carnage thing is a mini-series that is not connected to this. It is Cult of Carnage Misery, number 1 through 5. This more has to do with this character, Misery, and it's going to be a first appearance in this. So this Misery character is actually Liz Allen, who is the mother of Normie Osborn. And so she's also the head of Alchemex. So she doesn't know that Normie is Red Goblin. She just knows Red Goblin has been seen around a whole lot, very close to her son. So she decides to take what she can do in Alchemax and make herself into something powerful enough to defend them. However, it looks like she might have went a little too
Yeah, that's
far
a bit
there.
much.
So, first appearance of a new symbiote in this Cult of Carnage Misery, issues 1 through 5. And just to let you know, Liz Allen, you know what her first appearance is? All the way back in Amazing Fantasy 15.
Oh, wow.
That's how old of a character she
Is
is.
she a schoolmate of Peter?
Yeah, so, and then here is the INHYUK Lee variant to that.
This is cool because it's very much like that Mary Jane, Carnage, and
I see
the
that.
the Gwen
The Spider-Gwen one.
Spider-Gwen one.
Yeah, I like how the teeth make sort of a, what is it, eclat or whatever?
Yeah,
Like
and it's also kind of a
Shakespearean
Venus
time thing.
flytrap. You can see it just
Yeah.
like chomping her head.
And then here is the TODD NAUCK Window Shades. First appearance, she's already in the Window Shades variant.
And that's also makes sense because they said this is the summer of the symbiote, so they should just call it the summer of the Carnage.
Of the Carnage. Yeah, I got one more I'll be going over in a little bit.
Yeah. Next up is a new miniseries, Groot, or as my autocorrect put, Grout. This is Groot #1. It's going to be a miniseries by Dan Abnett, and the art is by Damian Cosiero. And it's supposed to tell untold stories of Groot's early life and early adventures. So it looks like you're going to be seeing a lot of baby Groot in this one.
I was wondering why, the original Captain Marvel was.
Yeah, so this is at least the first issue, he is either battling or teaming up, probably both, because it's a superhero comic, with a young Marvel. So this is even back when Marvel was kind of a young new recruit in there. So it sounds really fun. I think it's going to. At first, I thought maybe this is like one issue stories, but I looked up issue 2, and it looks like Marvel is going to be in the next one also. So it might be an ongoing story. But I love that Dan Abnett is writing it because he's really the one who made Groot this version of Groot way back when he was writing Guardians of the Galaxy and put Groot on the team of Guardians of the Galaxy. So you've got some good pedigree here going into a Guardians of the Galaxy series. So, of course, there's a bunch of variants. Everybody wants to draw Groot. This is our A cover. Then we have, of course, a Momoko. Groot's really interested in this praying mantis. We have the Woods variant.
Sort of the evolution of Groot.
Yep. And this great Scotty Young variant, which you can even though he's saying I'm Groot with a question mark, you can imagine he's saying, "Is that you, Rocket?" Or is that just a regular raccoon?
Okay, so the next Carnage thing for me to tell everybody about is there's a new Spider-Man 2099 mini-series. This one's also being done by Steve Orlando, who did the previous one. So this is Spider-Man 2099 Dark Genesis. It's going to be a 5-issue mini-series. And it's in this, Spider-Man 2099 goes up against a new Carnage 2099.
Have we had a Carnage 2099 before?
I believe there has
Okay.
been one. I've heard a lot of 2099 stuff, so it's all twisty in my
Yeah.
head, but I'm pretty sure we have. So again, this is from Steve Orlando. The art is done by Justin Mason. And although I don't think the Carnage is a new character, I do know they are going to have more first appearances of characters in the 2099 universe, which, a lot of comics have first appearances. But Steve Orlando's, the ones he did for the previous were really good characters. And
Yeah.
each story kind of focused on each one. He gave him a whole origin. And, he did like Winter Soldier.
I think there's supposed to be a new Daredevil 2099 in this.
Interesting.
Possibly a new Punisher. But yeah, and I think this is, if not weekly, bi-weekly, it's going to come out pretty fast.
Interesting. Okay, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I missed that. So this is the main cover. Here is the Lashley
I love
frame variant.
that they're keeping the frame variants going.
And then here is the Rice connecting variant. So this one will probably connect with, issues 1 through 5. So this is the sort of thing where people 3 issues in, they're like, hey, do you have the first 2? This is why, you think about it, pre-order now, let your store know you want all the connecting, and then you get them all.
Yep. Next up is our next Return of the Jedi one-shot. This is Star Wars Return of the Jedi Lando. And all these stories kind of take place and use characters that were pivotal in Return of the Jedi since we're celebrating its 40th anniversary. This one is spotlighting Lando and also Chewbacca as they are going to attempt to steal something from Jabba. I almost think this is going to be the story of them trying to steal Han and Carbonite back from them. Um, but it says that they're attempting to steal from Jabba, but a dangerous person from Lando's past may get in the way. So you can bet there's going to be a lot of smooth talking, card playing, swindling, all of that in this new Lando one shot from Stephanie Phillips and Alvaro Lopez.
I see they're playing Pazak. Takes me back to Knights of the Old Republic.
Yep. Got the connecting variant. This is the Garbett connecting variant. And we have this really nice Brian Stelfreeze cover.
Okay, so this is actually a one shot that's being released by writer Cy Spurrier with art by Phil Noto, who also did our cover here. It is X-Men Before the Fall, Sons of X. I know if you look at the cover, it just looks like Sons of X, but it's all on there. They fit it in there somewhere.
Turn your head.
Yeah, so in this, it's going to be Legion against Nimrod. So here you have, Legion, who is Omega level, powerful, multiple personalities, tons of powers, up against Nimrod, who is the most powerful artificial intelligence ever created. And it seems Cy Spurrier is the one to tell this story. There's some awesome art by Phil Noto. So again, this is just a one shot. Here's our regular cover by Noto. Here is the Paquette variant. And here is the Simmons variant for that.
Yeah, and it mentions Fall of X, which is going to be the next kind of big event in X-Men. So seems like this is going to be pretty important to set up things to come.
I wonder if Fall of X will be the end of sort of the Krakoan age.
I have a feeling that, yeah, it may take a while for the fallout to fully happen, but this will probably start that.
All right, so now on to our next segment. It is other number ones. There's always so many to go over. We pick ones that we feature, and then we just go through the rest of them afterwards. So here we go.
First off, we have Star Wars High Republic Jedi Quest #1. It's fun because the word Jedi Quest is an old series that Dark Horse used to do a long time ago. Like they're bringing that back. This is just a one shot, and it's going to follow Jedi Barnabas Vim and his Padawan Bly. They're going to be on the ancient planet Angkor, searching for a mysterious artifact called the Echo Stone. Looks like they're going to come up against some problems on that planet, but this is set in the High Republic, and we're getting close to the end of the second wave of the High Republic, so a lot of the pieces are starting to come together. I love these one shots they've been doing. There is a variant for this, but it was not available by the time of putting the show together. But the other thing I wanted to mention is just kind of tailing on the back of the other one is Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, the trade paperback. They collect issues 1 through 4 is also being solicited for $19.99. Want to mention this one because I'm in this one, issue number 3. So I'll be getting a lot of these. Hopefully we can, I talked to Megan before about having some signed copies maybe available on the website.
There will be, yep. Now that we have an awesome website,
Yep.
It'll be easier than ever for everybody to support Andy and his incredible art.
Yep, so pre-order that as well.
Okay, so next up is Demon Wars Scarlet Sin. So what's really interesting about this, they say this is the conclusion of the Momoko verse.
Wow.
So yeah, for those of us who've been following all of her stuff.
Years now.
Yeah, for years. This is supposed to be the conclusion of it. So this is a one shot. It asked a question of who is the new yokai that wants to paint everything scarlet? That even has to do with a Scarlet Witch type character, but in the Momoko verse. So this is going to be nearly double size. This is like 40 pages for $4.99. As with all the Momoko verse stuff, a lot of cool covers. So here's a regular. Kevin Eastman's getting in on a cover.
That's crazy.
Yep. So we got the Kevin Eastman variant. Here is the Giri Hiro variant. Here is the Stephanie Hans variant.
Very cool.
Yeah. Here is the Mitsuru Arita variant. And then Momoko does this other variant as well.
I'll be interested to see if they end up doing like an omnibus version of all of this, because all these double-sized issues she's got quite a few page count to collect in one big thing.
Yep. And this far into the Momoko verse, it's really important that if you watch our show, let your store know which covers you want, because this far in, stores don't like to be left with a lot of leftovers. They want something sort of over.
Okay, we have another one-shot in the Godzilla Rivals series. This is Godzilla Rivals Violante versus Destroya. This is going to be set in Pittsburgh, which I think is really interesting. Give Tokyo a break.
A breath, yeah.
But if you've been enjoying the Godzilla Rivals, or if you've never read one but you like these characters, these are great. Just one-shot, mostly fight stories that you can check out. And then we also have the B cover.
Okay, so next up is the #1 of a new independent comic by Scout Comics. It is called Quicksand. So the premise for this is some monsters pop out of a hole in the Egyptian desert. They attack a city, and then once they're done attacking the city, they disappear back into the hole. So, everybody's very confused about this. Well, they call upon a team called Canary One to investigate what are these monsters? Where did they come from? Where did they go? So that is the premise to Quicksand. It is from Jonathan Hendrick is the writer. The art is done by Deborah Lenciennes. So that is your premise right there, and just the one cover.
It's almost little trimmers.
That does sound like it. Yeah, maybe a little bit historical
Yeah.
and or aliens. When you go to Egypt, it's always will it just be monsters, or will they be monsters because of aliens? All right, so now our next segment, cool covers and other comics. These are going to be variants that we think are particularly noteworthy this week and available to order, and issue number 2s and 3s of newer series where maybe you need a reminder to sign up for that series at this point.
Starting with Immortal X-Men number 11, we've got this awesome Mark Brooks A cover, but this is going to be one of our first books after Sins of Sinister, as Storm has to deal with the fallout and all the kind of mistrust that's now going on after Sins of Sinister. So this is our A cover.
I mean, just another great Mark Brooks cover to throw in his pile of amazing covers.
We have the Clarke Spider-Verse variant. It is Emma Frost as a spider character.
See that.
Very cool.
Winter Spider.
And with diamond webs, you can't break those. We also have the Villa Stormbreaker variant.
Okay, so this is the Aspinall Spider-Verse variant for Scarlet Witch number 5. So we got the Scarlet Witch as a spider. And in this issue, Cynthia returns, but this time she has armor that is anti-magic. And, she's going to go up against Wanda, having the one thing that kind of makes it tough on her. And so, again, this is the Aspinall variant. Here is the Wen variant for that same issue.
I'd be really worried because it's like, yeah, I've got this armor, but she can affect everything around me. I'm just waiting for the ground to turn to sand underneath me or something like that.
There you go. It's kind of hard to deal with, but she's so powerful.
Next up, we have Spider-Man number 8. So I won't give away the spoiler for what happened in number 7, but we've seen the cover, so we know this is going to be a very big story going forward. But this one, it does say that Spider-Man's powers are supercharged. It's a lot of Shazam action on the cover, but can his human body even handle that amount of power? So this is Spider-Man number 8 by Dan Slott and Mark Bagley. This is we have this really fun variant cover too. This is the Liefeld homage variant, and there is also going to be a Humberto Ramos cover too, but they haven't revealed it yet because I think it's still part of the spoiler variant with the new character that's coming.
Number 7, yeah. And of course, this is an homage to Secret Wars number 8, one of my favorite covers. We even have one of our Infinity Flux shirts that Andy did in this style. I imagine with Deadpool on it, though, he's going cha-cha or something like that.
Chimichangas.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the Renaud variant from Moon Knight number 23. This issue sounds really interesting because Moon Knight is going to be teaming up with Venom. But not Eddie Brock Venom. No. Dylan is Venom right now, and Dylan Brock goes to the Midnight Mission to ask Moon Knight for help, and they team up. So looking forward to seeing what that's about. Here is the Renaud variant, and then here is the Shalvey Spider-Verse variant.
Next up, we have Star Wars number 34. This cover is really funny because it feels very like superhero cover,
Yeah.
almost like a Doctor Doom or something. But in this, Luke is searching for a new kyber crystal. I think we're going to see the formation of his green lightsaber that he ends up with. And there is a long lost secret that is about to be uncovered as well. So this is our A cover for that. We have our John Tyler Christopher action figure variant.
I like it. The hologram of Darth Maul gets its own action
Yep.
figure.
We have the really nice Phil Noto variant. Then we have our Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary cover. But that's not all. We're having another anniversary. It is the Solo 5th anniversary covers. So those are also numbered, but I think there's only 5 or 8 or something like that of them. But
Yeah, that says 1 of 6.
1 of 6. Okay, right there in the middle. Next up, we also have Yoda number 7, which, if this cover doesn't get you excited, this is going to be set during the Clone Wars, and it's going to be Yoda versus Grievous. The funny thing is, it says to the death, but we know how both of them die, and it's not by each other's hand, so it's going to be a Rube Goldberg device that leads to the moment from one of the movies where they die. But this is our A cover for that. We have this really nice NAKAYAMA variant. And we also have a Solo 5th anniversary cover.
Number 2 of 6.
Number 2.
Okay, so here's issue number 2 of Unstoppable Doom Patrol. I reviewed issue number 1 on our Monday video. Quite a good issue, really cool issue. We had some first appearances in it. Guess what? We get more first appearances in this. So that's a new character that's joined the team. He's called the Worm.
Love it.
I don't think it has anything to do with what's on his shoulder. I just think he could do that dance
really
on
well.
the ground. Yeah, that's just
Create like earthquakes by doing the Worm.
There you go. However, there's also going to be the introduction of the new Doom Patrol base called the Shelter in this issue. And on top of that, if that's not enough, there might be a traitor in their midst already. So that's what's going on with Unstoppable Doom Patrol number 2 of 6. And here is the Alan Qua variant to that as well. Very cool. Yeah, people were really excited for the scratch-offs on the issue number 1. That was...
When they came out, I had so many people like, have you scratched one off yet?
I had somebody joke they should have made him scratch off and scratch and sniff. But I don't know if I want to smell the characters Jane could possibly be.
The bathroom that mirror was in.
There you go.
Next up, we have Action Comics number 1054. And in this, we do find out who is behind all the stuff that's going on with Metallo. And you'll have to see who it is, but it is a pretty big surprise. So this is our A cover for that. We have our Sandoval variant. We have what they're calling the Tulaski Super Workout variant.
Pumping iron and having fun.
They can't get any muscle from that. When you're so strong, that just means nothing. That's just like them tossing a frisbee.
It's just like them carrying some potato chips.
Yep. We also have the Mustafa. It's called the Superman variant, but it makes sense to be on Action Comics.
Okay, here is the Rice variant, Detective Comics number 1071. In this issue, you have many things going on. It's a lot of progression of the plot that's been happening, but I think the main one that I'm sort of really interested in is the new character, Cheshire Cat. She teams up with Solomon Grundy. We kind of saw them meet last issue, and I had a feeling they were going to team up. So I want to see what happens with that. So here's the Rice variant, and then here is the Kelly Jones variant. Kelly Jones reminding us all of that Batman with the long ears. Like it's not done. That's still a Batman.
If you look in the webs, there's some smiles.
I see that. Yeah.
Very cool. Next up is this super cool variant for Riddler, year 1, number 4 of 6, is a Mike Mignola cover.
Very clearly.
Very rare to see Mignola do big 2 work.
I know.
He's got his own universe. He doesn't need to do it. So, it's a very special thing when he does a DC book or a Marvel book. So, definitely want to pick this one up.
I'm guessing Paul Dano was like, hey, I'm in movies. You are like, your stuff's always you're getting turned into the 3rd or 4th Hellboy adaptation. Come do something.
This is a high Hollywood cover.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the A cover to Harley Quinn number 29 by our interior artist, Sweeney Boo. Um, new artist on the series. I reviewed issue 28 last Monday. And in this, Harley has to use magic to travel through the multiverse. So again, this is our main cover. And then here is the Jenny Frizen variant of her being sewed together as a teacher.
Yeah, but kind of scary to have that knife in your pen holder.
Yep.
Next up is issue number 3 of Ambassadors. I just reviewed issue number 1, but we already have number 3 up here for order. And in this one, we are meeting the mother and son superhero team from Paris. Sounds really fun. And the art in this one is going to be by Travis Charest. He's doing this cover as well. We have the black and white Charest variant. And then there is the Gia Giordano variant. Also, there is the second printing special edition. So it's not just a reprint of number 1. This is also going to have some bonus pages in it. And it says, you see the stages of quietly turning the script into reality. So I'm guessing you're going to see some progress shots and some script pages and all of that.
Very interesting that, they didn't just reprint it.
Yeah.
They added some things to it. Okay, so here is the main cover to Indigo Children number 2. Number 1 just released last week. I did a review on it. And this issue, you're going to get 2 stories in one. There's a lot of plot going on in this thing. So you're going to get a flashback that happens on Mars. That'll make more sense if you read the first issue. And there's the reporter who's sort of our main character. He is trying to free one of the other Indigo children. So again, if you liked it issue number 1, you might want to sign up so you don't miss any issues of that.
We also have issue number 2, Dead Romans, came out a couple weeks ago. Really like the first issue. If you like very non-sci-fi, non-fantasy, this is historical drama. You will like this. Honoria, one of our protagonists, refuses to believe that her husband, or not husband, but love interest, could have been a traitor to all of Rome, but she doesn't have time to worry about that now because she is taking up his sword to help defend their Roman camp. So yeah, if you enjoyed that first one, definitely sign up for this one. It's our A cover. We have the Marinkovic, our interior artist variant. We have our Anwar variant. And we also have a Walsh variant.
All right, here's the main cover to Local Man number 3, the comic that's sort of a 2-in-1 comic. One side you get his present day, and then the other side you get back when he was on like an Image style team back in the day. Really great concept that they're doing real well. So in this third issue, our main character Crossjack. In the present story, he is hunting for the killer who is trying to frame him. So this is the A cover. Here is the Booth and Reber variant. And then issue number 2 is going back to second print. I think this comic is picking up steam as people read it and they're like, this is just a fun, cool comic. So again, this is number 2, second print.
We also have Spawn Scorch number 17. Speaking of Mark Brooks, another Mark Brooks cover, part of his connecting variants that he is doing for all the different Spawn books. So this is number 17. You don't want to miss that. And then there is also a Tomalesi variant.
Here is the main cover to The Neighbors issue number 2. Another series that started last week. A lot of series started last week that I read and reviewed. Paranoia is rising against the neighbors of the family who just moved in, who suspect they are anything but normal neighbors. And so here's our main cover, and then here is the Stephanie Hans variant for Neighbors number 2. Definitely a movie poster.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out.
It even has sort of a tagline down there.
Trying to figure out what those an homage to.
All right, our next segment, other printings and graphic novels.
Starting with, finally, 8 Billion Genies. We haven't got our issue 8 yet, but they have solicited the 8 Billion Genies deluxe hardcover. And it says volume 1. Does this mean we are getting more 8 Billion Genies? I don't know. But this will be $39.99 and collect issue 1 through 8.
That's interesting. I mean,
Mhm.
you're right, because that's all 8 issues.
Yep.
So I think that means they're probably doing 10 more, which makes sense. It was
Oh,
a
yeah.
runaway hit. Okay, so next up is Hauntology, trade paperback by Jeremy Hahn, who wrote it. He did the art, he did the cover. It's always cool when you get, the one
Mhm.
person, they do their entire thing. So this is 152 pages for just 16.99. It is soft cover, and this is 28 short stories and vignettes of horror by Jeremy Hahn, who's done so many cool indie comics, Realm,
Beauty
and
and yeah.
yep. So just want everybody to know what this is, and you get a lot for just 16.99 here.
Next up is the Invincible Compendium hardcover, Volume 2. So if you've been picking up, you picked up the Volume 1 hardcover. It is a beautiful, giant book, but this is Volume 2, collects issues 48 through 96 of Invincible, Invincible Returns #1, and Astounding Wolfman #11.
All right, so this is Captain America Lives, which is the latest omnibus, hardcover omnibus. It is 75 bucks. It is back when Ed Brubaker was doing Captain America back in 2004. He did most of the writing in this. Most of the art's done by Luke Ross. This collects Captain America from 2004 issues 43 through 50. Also issue 600 and 601, because when they hit those big numbers, they
Yeah.
switch to the legacy numbering. And it also includes Cap Reborn issues 1 through 6. And you can see it has a really cool Alex Ross cover right here.
Back when you had Bucky as Captain America.
Yes, when Bucky was Cap. And here is the direct market variant for the same thing.
Next up, we have Murder World. This collects all of the one shots that kind of form the Murder World story recently. Very cool take, very scary take on Murder World and Arcade. This will be collecting the Murder World one shots of Avengers, Spider Man, Moon Knight, Wolverine, and Game Over, which was the finale issue. All this for $15.99.
Okay, so Wolverine is getting his volume 4 omnibus. This thing is big. Okay, so it's 125 bucks, but for that, it's 1,176 pages. Collects Wolverine from his original ongoing series, issues 60 through 75. That's back from 1988 on, and so many miniseries I can't list them. So it's pretty much all the miniseries he was in from 88 to 93.
Mm-hmm.
So again, 1,176 pages for 125 bucks. A lot of this was written by Larry Hama,
Yeah.
and a lot of the art was done by Dave Hoover. But with that many stories and miniseries, there's other people
Yeah, it has like the
involved.
Wolverine Spider Man and a lot of those little ones in there, but a very key time for Wolverine sets up a
For
lot of
sure.
stuff to come.
Yep. So this is the main cover. Here is the Andy Kubert direct market variant. And then we have a Mark Texiera direct market variant as well. Cool to see
Yeah,
Mark Texiera's work on something.
yeah, and this is like one of the few times we've seen three covers for an omnibus.
Yeah.
There's going to be an incentive one at some point. The 1 in 25 omnibus
Oh my
for
goodness. For
$2,000.
$125.
Another thing, we don't really show off too much on here, but there is also magazines for those new to subscribing to us and everything. And one of the big ones, of course, is Star Wars Insider. So this is Star Wars Insider number 218. I think this is a very cool one because this is a very Ahsoka centric issue leading up to her new show later this year. So they always do a couple of covers for these. This is the newsstand cover, kind of your A cover. Then we have the direct market or previews variant, I believe was what they call it, previews edition. And then this one is really cool. This is actually the regular issues are $9.99. This one is $19.99, but it is a special foil variant. This really nice Ahsoka art on there as well.
Yeah, the foil variants are always desirable after the fact because you can never tell foil just looking at it on
Yeah.
screen. Then you get it in your hands and everybody wants it. Okay, well, that is our show for this week. So remember, if you want to check these comics out, you can also head over to our website at infinityflux.net, where you can subscribe to a series if you want. You can check out all the things we just talked about. You can click on whatever. You can subscribe to the book. You get 10% off anything you pre-order, or you can just pre-order particular covers. It is that simple. Again, that is infinityflux.net. Thank you all for joining us. And if you are watching on YouTube, hit subscribe so you don't miss our videos. This next Monday, we'll be doing our review show where we review all the comics that are coming out next week for Tuesday and Wednesday.
Mhm.
So you'll know about first appearances and other cool things before anybody else tells you. So thanks for watching, and we will see you then.